This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Today on CityCast Boise. For most people, TikTok is a fun way to waste a little time, but this wildly popular app has been life-changing for people in our community. I personally was able to use it to build a platform that landed me my dream job as the host of CityCast Boise. But I'm not the only one who has had great success with this app. Local TikToker Sammy Alvey has created an essential side hustle to supplement her 2 restaurant jobs. Now, Congress is looking to basically ban the app. What would that mean for our community? It's Wednesday, April 3rd. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. Sammy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm super excited to sit and chat with you.
So, Sammy, your TikTok handle is Mild West Sammy. That's where people can find you, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how did you get started making TikToks?
So I started making TikToks in 2021. It was really just out of boredom. I really had no intention of making them as like a job or anything or doing it for any other reason besides I just had nothing else to do really. And for a while I was kind of that like curmudgeon, like, oh, I don't want to download TikTok. That's like for all the kids. Like I'm too old for that. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to be that like grumpy old person that's like, oh, these kids. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. And I love the platform. I think there's no other algorithm like it, for better or worse. But I think it makes it so much easier to connect with like-minded people than on a lot of other platforms. But that's what really got me with TikTok to begin with. And that's definitely what helped me gain my following that I have now, is just because it's so good at doing that sort of thing. But I do a variety of different content. Now it's largely my cat, my silly little orange cat that everybody loves. But for a while before I had my silly little orange cat, I did like recipe videos and just a very eclectic mishmash of content.
How many followers do you have on TikTok?
I think it's about 330 at the moment.
330,000.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah. 330,000.
Wow. That is so many. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've got maybe the most popular orange cat on TikTok then.
He's a very goofy boy, and it's for a good reason. He's very sweet and silly, but I feel like cat content's kind of like the cheat code. It's universal, no politics. Everybody loves a good little cat, so that definitely made it easy. So I know the following number, it feels like a lot, but it also doesn't feel super earned because I'm just posting my sweet little cat, and everybody seems to love him. So
and ultra popular chocolate chip cookie recipes too.
Oh yes, yeah. I know. Last year I won the blue ribbon at the state fair for my cookies. So that is also one of my best performing videos.
That is a huge achievement. Huge achievement.
Thank you.
No, I can relate so much. Same thing. My husband during the pandemic was like, download this app. You should get TikTok. And I was like, I'm not 13. So
right.
I will not be doing that. And then now here we are. If you don't mind me asking, have you monetized your TikTok channel?
Yeah. So I joined the original like creator fund or whatever it was, like probably a year and a half ago. But it was notoriously it didn't pay out very well. You didn't really make much money at all. So I didn't really take making videos super seriously because I wasn't really making a lot of money off of it. It was just kind of like a hobby that I did for fun, that I enjoyed doing. But when they recently, at the end of last year, had the beta version for their new creator fund, that's when I applied for that, which it is a lot more substantial and reliable in what it pays you. So I've definitely in the last few months done it a lot more consistently and with a lot more intention, because it's a lot more worth my time, because I also work 2 service industry jobs. So if it's not something that's going to be super viable for me. I wasn't really interested in putting a ton of intentional time behind it. But yeah, I have been monetized for a couple years, but really it's been just fairly recently that it's been something that's been intentional for me.
Do you mind telling us maybe even just like a ballpark or generalized, like how much do you make yearly or monthly, or how much of an income it creates for you?
Yeah. So before the monetization program changed, it varied a lot, but some months it was like $5 and some months it was maybe like $300. So it was nothing I was going to complain about, just for very, low effort sort of content that I was posting. But in the past few months, it's changed quite a bit. So I've made anywhere between like $900 to $3,000 per month, which is quite a big jump from what it was before. So yeah, it's been taking up a lot more of my time recently because it makes a lot more sense. But
yeah, it's creating a lot more of your budget.
For sure. For sure.
Okay, so I know you don't make political TikTok as a rule. That's not really what you make. But I do have some questions about the TikTok ban, which has become quite a political hot topic. How would a TikTok ban affect your life?
I mean, it would definitely affect my life now that it's a large chunk of what my income would be. And it's not just me. I feel like I'm probably on the lower end of people who would be affected, at least people that are monetizing their TikTok page. But I know a lot of people, it's like completely what they rely on. And it is hard to think about the fact that could be taken away from them, especially for something that feels a bit of, in my opinion, like a stretch or an overreach, or for something that's preemptive instead of reactionary. It feels like a very extreme measure or reaction to take to what could perceivably be a good reason, but it would have to be a blanket reason across the board for all social medias and not just cherry picking one.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I definitely want to talk about how we're addressing social media and different social media platforms. And one of the things talking about this TikTok ban that I don't see discussed a lot is that there are approximately 7 million small businesses on TikTok, including monetized creators, and they generated $14.7 billion in revenue in 2023. And as a small business owner yourself, do you think these businesses would be able to survive a TikTok ban?
Oh, definitely not in the way that they're surviving now. Like that's a really large number for 2023. And I feel like it wasn't really until even the end of 2023 or the beginning of 2024 that things like TikTok Shop were like really, really popularized on the app. So I feel like people, even in the last year, have gotten even more reliant on it. So it would absolutely change people's livelihoods, not just people that rely on it part-time like me, but people that rely on it for their entire livelihood. If they have a small business, like a physical location, or it's more digital stuff, I mean, regardless, they'll definitely be suffering in a lot of ways. And I think people sometimes underestimate how much such a large portion of the population relies on those things.
Yeah, I think there's still this misconception about TikTok, kind of like, oh, it's just, an app where people are dancing or, just sharing recipes. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is so much broader than that and has so much more hold on communities and small businesses and things like that than just a fun app for dancing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that in addition to spreading, especially in places where we live that are very red states, feeling like you're able to have a connection with the political ideology that you agree with and be able to find people that are in your area that agree with you. It's in addition to financially being reliant on it. I think a lot of people, like, for their mental health and their peace of mind and knowing that there are other things going on in the world than just what their little bubble is showing them is so important. And taking that away, I feel like I don't see the same degree of that stuff on the other social media platforms. I see a lot more of it on TikTok. So I feel like taking that away, in addition to the monetization, is something that we should be thinking about also.
I absolutely agree. And I've said that a lot about my TikTok platform, that I thought I was very alone in my opinions before I started making TikToks, and that people who politically are more aligned with me, it seems like we're a little more quiet, a little more nervous to voice our opinions unless we're like in certain neighborhoods in Boise. And so being able to have this platform and say the things I believe and the things that I think are important really helped me find my voice and realize I'm not alone in this state. I'm not the only person in this area who feels this way. There are a lot of people who feel this way who also then reached out to me and said, oh, I thought I was the only person who felt this way.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like it's really easy for people who are not affected by those things in those ways to see things like the TikTok ban or whatever and be like, well, just go out and go meet people or go, try to find groups of people. But it's just really not that simple for a lot of people. Like there's such limited access. If you haven't experienced it, you just might not understand like the gravity of how much it really is like a lifeline for so many people to have access to people that feel the same way as them.
So when people are talking about TikTok bans and their concerns about TikTok, a lot of times they talk about their concerns about user data and the fact that ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, is based in Beijing. And Meta has also collected user data and has sold it. There was a huge scandal, the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where it was discovered that Facebook had sold sensitive US data and Americans' Facebook data to Russian intelligence. But nobody is talking about banning Meta over that. So why do you think that TikTok is specifically being targeted over user data concerns when like Meta isn't?
It's always so interesting to me when people have this like implicit trust in our government over anybody else's government. It's so obvious, and it's been proven, like you said, that Meta has actually done the things that they're like preemptively trying to stop TikTok from doing. It's kind of a hard thing to wrap your mind around that they would be so invested in banning something like TikTok when they have no interest in doing anything for anybody like Meta. It just seems like a very, very blatant, obvious discrepancy that they're only targeting the Chinese, quote unquote, Chinese social media app. Yeah, it does seem very blatantly, I don't want to say silly, but it does seem silly to me.
Yeah, just definitely oddly targeted to just one platform. And I do think that concerns about our online data are completely legitimate.
For sure. It should be across the board, though. It should be all, like, if that's the craziest thing to me, if they're going to do something like this, put in all the time and effort and energy, shouldn't they just be doing it for the whole blanket of social media instead of targeting this one company because they're from somebody that we perceive to be a threat, when there's already been proven threats for companies that are supposed to be run by Americans? So it's like, where does that middle ground lie?
Sammy, what would you want people in the Treasure Valley who are maybe less familiar with TikTok or social media, what would you want them to know about this app?
That whatever level of fear you might have around TikTok, I would just say have that same level of fear with all of your social media apps. The things that they're saying to be scared about for TikTok are the same things that you would need to be scared about for any social media that you're consuming. If you really feel like TikTok is the bad guy and you feel justified for using things like Facebook, maybe take a little bit of time to unpack that and maybe see why you feel that way. Maybe do a little bit of research about the safety measures that things like Meta are taking so you can understand where the discrepancies in the accusations that they're making against TikTok lie. And then just try to have a little less prejudice. I guess that's all I would say.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us about this and breaking this down for people in the Treasure Valley. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I was super excited to chat with you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, we would love it if you'd leave us a review. We'll be back tomorrow morning with how climate change is affecting gardening in the Treasure Valley. You won't want to miss it.